So welcome to take two of Uncle Bill and the Twin, TWIN. Kevin, where are you? Where's your brother? Kevin, where?
Punching bag.
Punching bag. Kevin, where are you? Where's Kevin?
Kevin's in Philadelphia on a business trip. He wanted to be here. He watched the game. He had Syracuse, so that could be the real reason.
That explains why Kevin is suddenly probably in Brooklyn. Well, Kevin, we miss you. Don't let this happen again, or else there's going to be somebody else. There's going to be another real punching bag sitting there. Now, we're not ignoring the women's game. Honestly, I was rooting for Brittany Griner.
And Baylor, yes.
And I was really rooting for Baylor because I think that you need to make, particularly a sport that needs something, you need a dominant force. You need something dominant. And to me, Brittany Griner and Baylor were really the story of women's college basketball.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they were heavy favorites to win the women's tournament. I mean, they were 25-point favorites against Louisville when they lost that game. I think people who filled out a women's bracket would put in ink Baylor. I mean, that was basically a foregone conclusion. They were going to win the national championship. Obviously, it didn't happen.
So why the women shoot themselves in the, why did they allow Louisville to beat up their golden goose like that? I mean, I don't know what the ratings are going to be. Maybe Gino can carry, but everybody wanted to see Baylor. Why are they going to let Louisville beat the girl up like that?
Right, because the officiating was suspect in that game. I mean, they were pushing her, hacking her, slapping her,
they were
taunting her.
Nothing. It's almost like, I mean, maybe Gino Orme said, listen, I don't want to see Baylor in this.
Because Brittany Griner usually gets those calls. I mean, she has dominated women's college basketball, the second all-time leading scorer, the all-time leading scorer in blocks, men or women, which is very impressive. She's kind of comparable, you can call her the Wilt Chamberlain of the women's game.
Well, guess what Mark Cuban thinks so, because, the news was that he would give her a shot, right? Let her work out, even draft her.
Right, yeah, he said he would give her a shot.
Whose place would he take that? Who would he cut?
Yeah, who's getting cut?
Everybody in the Mavericks is playing extra hard.
Yeah.
I don't want to get replaced by Brittany Griner.
That'd be funny. I think let's keep an eye on the Mavericks these last couple games of the NBA season. They're playing as hard as they possibly can.
They're really hungry. Brittany
Griner's taking your spot.
I think overall, you mentioned, I mean, the fight, with all this ugliness of Rutgers and, Syracuse is going to be, being investigated. The college basketball needed a weekend like this.
Well, the national championship game was awesome. It was exactly what college basketball needed, after the horrible story that came from Rutgers.
Right. Still unfolding.
Still unfolding, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
It's still probably hitting people with basketball.
Yeah, he's throwing them as we speak. Just like this.
Rice's poor dog, no. Now he doesn't have an outlet, he's going to start coming and kicking me. So, yeah, but it was a great game.
It was a great game. Both teams played very well. Both teams were efficient offensively. First half of the game, the story was the point guard, the backup point guard from Michigan, Spike Albrecht, averaging just under 2 points a game, who had 17 points in the first half. And then Luke Hancock, who was the most outstanding player of the Final Four. Those 4 threes he hit in the first half, I thought was the key to the game. So the other story was Coach Beilein of Michigan, leaving Trey Burke on the bench as Louisville made that run. Pitino clearly won the coaching battle here. He made the adjustments in the second half. And when Louisville made that comeback at the end of the first half, they turned a double-digit deficit into a 1-point halftime deficit. I think you could really get the feeling that Louisville was probably going to win that game.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone kind of knew Albrecht was not going off for 17 again in the second half.
Right.
So they were going to have to find scoring from other places. Tim Hardaway Jr., he had that awesome dunk, but overall, I don't think he gave enough help to Trey Burke in order for Michigan to win.
Right. The question is, do you think it's enough? Do you think that, it's enough to take the focus off of what happened at Rutgers and God knows where else?
Unfortunately, I don't. I think the national championship was great. People are going to talk about it all week. But to me, this Rutgers storyline isn't going away.
Right.
And, unfortunately for sports and all sports, I don't think Mike Rice was the first, and I don't think he's going to be the last to have this crazy behavior. And
well, you of all people know that. I mean, you're a coach. You coach at Dwight School, and actually right here in the session, actually you kick. Everybody looks at Kyle. Oh, such a nice, easy guy. Kyle is tough. He's kicked kids out of the gym.
There's a line, and I don't think I've ever crossed a line where, I'm physically abusing kids, using excessive
Never threw a
pushing or
ball
shoving.
anywhere?
I've never thrown a ball at a kid. I've
In the vicinity, near a kid.
I've slammed the ball down, but I've never thrown a ball at a kid, and I've never excessively shoved a kid. So I think there's definitely
Excessively?
well,
Awkward moment here.
I don't think I've ever crossed the line.
Okay.
Sure to get out of here.
Where's your brother?
Where's
I didn't beat him.
But I think there's a big difference between coaching and bullying.
Right.
And when I yell at a kid, I'm doing it to constructively criticize him, to try and help him get better, to make him a better player. Because certain kids, and I was the same way. Some kids don't respond well to criticism. They think, oh, coach is yelling at me, he doesn't like me. No, it's the opposite. The kids that don't get that kind of treatment, they're the ones that should be worried because, as a coach, a lot of times that means that the coach has given up on you. I do want to congratulate Amherst College. I know you were there in Atlanta this year. Division III and the Division II national championships were at the same venue as the Division I championship. Amherst is a big rival of Middlebury. Congratulations to Amherst and the NESCAC. Very good stuff.
Right, and we will see everybody next week. Hopefully with Kevin. So see you guys later.
See you guys.
All right. Good show.